Check 1 2. Hello, hello. Hello and welcome everybody. 1 second. Alright, so this is the very first edition of Raptors Rewind, the official Toronto Raptors immediately after the game live after show. And I know that this one is a couple minutes late, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just trying to figure out the streaming quality still. There's a couple of hiccups, but by next episode, we're going to be all good, all dandy. It's going to be great. And I tell you what, it's a weird game to be starting a recap show because I personally, I think we can all agree, it was just a pretty boring fucking game against Orlando today. And obviously that's going to happen at some level when you have two teams that are just so efficiently gifted in the defensive department. But I tell you what, these shots that the Raptors were trying to get off early and they just weren't hitting, it was just kind of disappointing, And that's fair, but, it is what it is. Anyway, welcome. My name's Owen, at the Mouth God. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all those things. And I'll be coming to you live from my house as soon as every game's over, just to recap, just to chat about it. If you have anything you want to let me know about, you can leave your comments and concerns in the chat. So anyway, overall today, it was a pretty low-scoring game. Actually, the lowest scoring first half for the Raptors all season. So that's kind of a bad omen. I also think in terms of stats, we lowered our we were number 1 in threes until this game. I don't know. I can check that right now, but I don't know if that stat's going to hold up anymore. So, it is what it is. But it would have been nice if we had, landed a couple more of those early threes, which we really, really didn't. Let's check out the box score for this one. So 22 for Fred VanVleet, Siakam 10, which was noticeable. And then, of course, the story of the night is Norman Powell. Holy shit. His highest career points in a night, 33. And I'll tell you what, I was trying to watch the game on an illegal stream, don't tell anybody, and it kind of got to a point where there was just a lot of cutouts. It was really cutting out for me, not getting a lot of the action. And after the intermission, when we were just starting the third quarter, we missed about 6 minutes of the game, and it was very frustrating. But we come back, and suddenly Norman Powell is like the legend of all time, legend of all legends. So good for him. Incredible game. I was lucky enough to watch the rest of the game, and I actually got to see him basically go on the greatest scoring night of his life. So, it's crazy. I feel like some people call out Powell as like a more in it for himself player, but tonight he carried us. So good for him. Like I said, we weren't getting a lot of threes off, and it was just generally one of the less exciting games to watch. And that also is compounded by the fact that we just played 2 insane games against the Knicks, which was an insane blowout and just so fun to watch. I mean, in a lot of ways it was kind of torturous because it's not fair. It wasn't fair. And then the Philly game obviously was insane. So watching something like this, it's just not up to the caliber that I think a lot of Raptors fans expect this season. On our part, really, I think we kind of all expect to be dazzled. Like, this team has this crazy bench. We're the number one. We're a great defensive team. We're the number 1 3-point team in the league. So you kind of hope to see some magic happen. And tonight, we played the magic, and no magic really happened. We won. We took the W. I'm happy about that, but it wasn't something that I'm going to write home about. And it is kind of hilarious that this is the first episode, but whatever. We'll talk about that later. Anyway. Yeah, so that kind of covers the 2 first talking points I have here. 1 being Norman Powell, good for him, and 2 being it's a boring-ass game. And, I guess those things are somewhat symbiotic in the sense that, you got Pascal with 10 tonight. Freddie did great. OG with 2. Rondé with 6. Terrence with 4. The bench was not as efficient as they have been in the past. We also weren't really cycling through a lot. I guess Thomas is injured right now. Stanley John waiting that he probably did something hilarious with his groin. Anyway, so yeah, it was just not a lot of stuff was happening. The one thing, I love Fred VanVleet, and I think that there's been some debate, some conversation around whether or not he's really, obviously he was like was he 6th man of the year last year? I don't know, but he was obviously one of the best 6 men in the league, and he totally deserves a spot in the the starting 5 right now. But there's been some debate whether or not he's like really a staple and institution of the Raptors at this point, or if he's maybe just still on a streak. And he scored 22 tonight, but you kept seeing him just go for the bucket and throw these layups up and just get blocked. Like, the Magic has range on him. They got length, These guys are tall as hell. And so when you just toss these fucking layups up, I just feel like it was really unintuitive. And it kind of showed through that maybe Freddie, he's got a high IQ, but is it as high as we thought before? Maybe he was just being cocky. I don't really know. There was clearly a mental gap going on there for a bit, and he just kept on doing this layup. Obviously, it didn't really affect his score too much. He got 22. His threes are obviously amazing, but it just seemed a little strange that he was rushing to the basket when it wasn't working. Like, it works against some teams. It totally does. Like, it worked for him a lot in the playoffs last year. But when, the first 2 or 3 times you try to run directly to the basket, you get blocked by much taller players. Like, maybe try to do something else instead of keeping, the same pattern going. But, other than that, good for him. It was, we won, whatever. I wrote down bench mob to talk about tonight because obviously they've been incredible. Terrence Davis, an undrafted rookie who is now, what does he have? I had this. He's got the highest TPA for I don't know if it's a rookie or like, I think it's got to be for a rookie, but total points added, right? Basically at this point he has the highest. He's a current rookie leader in total points added, which means when he's on, he is contributing the most to the team of any rookie right now in the NBA. And this guy comes from Ole Miss, undrafted. He says that he's not really from a basketball town. It's just something that he likes. And holy shit, there's something to do with the Raptors staff. Obviously the front office is amazing at picking out these players, but also somebody. And apologies to me, or apologies from me, but I think a lot of people from all the media I've been listening to, we know Nick, we know some of the trainers, but like, you got to really throw a lot of praise to the entire coaching staff, the entire training staff, everyone, because there's something going on. There's some vibe that's happening here that are making these guys shine so brightly. It's crazy. Like, a lot of these are 905 guys, and they're just crushing it in the big leagues. Like, it's ridiculous, Boucher is another great example of just, no one, he wasn't really on anyone's radar, and suddenly he's just crushing it, making incredible rebounds, lots of blocks, scoring a lot of points, and you just don't see a lot of the same sort of composure from rookies or younger players on other teams that might have actually been drafted well. I mean, I'm beating a dead horse here. We're all on the same boat, but holy shit, it's just amazing night after night. In fact, maybe it's the wrong night to talk about it because this is one of the less impressive nights for the bench mob, to be honest. Hollis Jefferson obviously still had some crazy plays. Doesn't really have a shot. Doesn't have a great shot, but, he did what he did, and it was amazing. So, good for them. But the real question is, and that's moving on to my next point here, when are the boys back? And what happens when the boys are back, right? Because they said that Lowry and Ibaka, I think they said Ibaka might be cleared first, and they said that might happen as soon as Sunday, December 1st, right? I think that's a Sunday. And that just brings up a lot of questions on a lot of different sides. First of all, the bench has been playing so great and they're going to have their minutes limited, but is it going to go in any specific direction? And then on the flip side of that, how are the guys going to be feeling? Obviously, Lowry was playing like a record good season for him so far over a very small sample size amount of games, but still, that's pretty impressive. Like, is he going to be thrown off now? Is he going to be better? Like, obviously there's going to be some adjusting also for these guys to play in rotations with sort of a bench that they hadn't played with previously. So yeah, there's a lot of questions, but obviously these aren't really negative things. First of all, I guess we can just go through. Terrence Davis is going to get minutes still. Hollis Jefferson too, but it seems like Boucher is kind of the odd one out here, where he doesn't really bring anything that isn't already offered by somebody like Ibaka. And as much as I love Slim Duck, like, he's amazing, it's funny, he's tall as hell, but the guy doesn't have a lot of mass on him. Like, he holds his own, and he seems a lot stronger than you'd think he'd be considering his frame. But yeah, man, it's like he's not really built. Like, compared to some of these guys, like, look at Ibaka or Gasol or like Embiid the other night. It's like they're bigs, but they have mass, and they need to use that mass to, get under the fucking post and actually, like, grab the rebound. And he's able to do it anyway, so I don't know if that's just me kind of being old school. Like, I should play by the analytics and less by the physical appearance, but, regardless, I do think that, if Ibaka's in good form, he's probably going to be the one with the most limited appearances from here on out. And maybe, throw him back in the 905 for a bit, just let him keep playing, and then, I don't know, he's going to play in Team Canada next year. Hopefully that'll give him some more minutes. Like, he's a good prospect. It's just that we have too many good prospects right now, which isn't a bad problem to have. But obviously, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? 1 sec. I'm just going to check the... Alright, here we go. Yeah, so... It's interesting. I mean, then you got Matt Thomas, who's injured now, obviously, which is a shame. But he's okay. He's okay. He was good. He's an incredible scorer, incredible percentage. But yeah, his ability on defense is, I mean, lackluster is a good word to use, I guess. He just doesn't really know. Obviously, when you come into a team like the Raptors that have so many different defensive schemes, it's not a cakewalk to get up to speed. And I mean, you can recall even a few weeks ago, before the bench mob had to get heavy minutes, that Nick was talking about how he didn't think that guys like Davis and Hollis Jefferson were really up to the task of playing within the Raptors' defensive schemes yet. And obviously, he was proven wrong, or not proven wrong, but, he gave them a chance and they proved themselves. But it took a while. Well, it didn't take a while. It took them really proving themselves. And Matt Thomas is one of the guys on the bench. I mean, Stanley seems obviously like another one who hasn't proven that he fully is able to not only embrace but execute the sort of Raptor strategy. And that's really integral for a team like the Raptors, because to be second in the league with like so little superstars and really just a solid and fully able to communicate in order for the entire operation to work. As soon as it becomes an individual's game, as soon as people start playing more ISO ball and don't really work together, like, we don't have the individual talent for that to work at all. So it's important that anyone who sort of works within the Raptors, defensive or offensive schemes really gets it. Because that's how we're killing people right now. We're killing them with just brilliant coaching and great strategy, and not so much with individual talent. I mean, that being said, Powell did great tonight. Siakam, surprisingly inefficient. I mean, the Magic are an incredible defensive team, and that's why it was so boring to watch the game. It was two great defensive teams. But, I'm not trying to. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to jab on Siakam. He's having a crazy season, but I think the reason we're winning isn't just because of a guy like him. Obviously. Now it kind of brings up the question when it goes to the bench. Like, what are we going to do with these players? Another thing, rather than just kind of, having them sit out again, is we do, trades. Because obviously Masai is brilliant on that side of things. Is he maybe considering packaging up some of these rookies and an Ibaka or a Gasol or a Van Vliet and going for something big to maybe take another run this year? And I can see maybe a couple of the bench mob going out. I mean, they've been able to just raise their stock price so much in such little time. My personal, I mean, it's tough. It's tough because on one hand, I don't really want a trade. I don't want Van Vliet gone. I don't really want Siakam or Ibaka gone. And as much as I love the new guys, I think it's probably, if they get a good deal and they can get more minutes on another team, that's great. The problem is, though, Ibaka and Gasol, I guess, they're gone next year, or at least their contracts expire. So me being so clingy isn't necessarily the right idea either, because, at the end of the day, these guys are going to, potentially be gone. So it seems like, it's hard to say that it's a development year, because it's not. We are second in the East right now, and we have a good chance at going very far, if not all the way, again, with the team we have right now. But that being said, I still think we can look at it as a winning team and a playoff-ready team, but also as a development team, in the sense that I think that maybe holding on to our assets and not trading, making a risk trade for a really good player and losing some of our current assets. I think it's better to just go for it and see what we can do this year. I mean, obviously, injuries happen. There's a lot of sort of what-ifs, and if we, with our current roster, if somebody is unable to play. We got somebody to fill their shoes. We got 2 people to fill their shoes. I mean, we're in a very good situation. So as much as, we do have assets. We have assets galore to possibly trade off and go for something even better. I wouldn't be so fast as to do something like that, because at the end of the day, it's like, can you not see this team going all the way? Like, we're crushing it. Like, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I know the Bucks are doing better than we are right now, obviously. Well, not obviously, but that they're. You look at the scoreboard; they have 2 more games than us. But if we didn't play the Bucks in single games, and we were actually going for a 7-game series, first to 4, I don't think it's as scary. I think that we're that kind of team that's really resilient. I mean, it was crazy in the playoffs last year. There were so many games where we always, we were down 10, 12 by half. But I think, if anything, the biggest skill that the Raptors have is just staying composed and just grinding it back. And that really, really benefits itself the longer the time is. So if we're doing individual games, maybe we're going to lose one. But if we have 4 games, my God, the adjustments that Nick can make and just the goddamn mentality, the grind that the Raptors have, doesn't really matter who it is. Like, if partially because the fact that we're the champions, right? Like, we're the fucking reigning champs. And so there's this level of just grit. There's this level of, I don't know, this feeling that, like, we are the winners, and it makes you drive that much harder for it. So, I don't really think. Where was I going with this? I mean, I think you get my drift, but at the end of the day, we've got a winning formula here, and I think that we're a long game team, really a long game team, more so than a Bucks. I mean, I think what's funny still is, like, we beat the 76ers by a couple points the other day. I still think that they're probably our biggest competition, just because they seem to also live by that mentality of, like, longer grind. I mean, you go to Game 7 in the playoffs, they were actually the closest contenders. I mean, you'll hear Philly fans for sure be like, "Oh shit, if we had beat the Raptors, we would have gone all the way." And I'm inclined to believe them in some ways. These teams that sort of follow these strategies, like the Bucks or Golden State last year, where you have these all-stars. Golden State not so much, but the Bucks for sure. I just think that's old basketball, and we're really kind of on the cutting edge in Toronto of the way we play ball. Like, we're really, we're talking about tonight. Leo was talking about just our ability to cycle through defensive strategies and do shit that other coaches just, the only reason they wouldn't do is because they feel like it looks weird and it's janky or whatever. And it's like, I don't know, there clearly is some groundbreaking concepts that are being put forward by our staff, our coaches, Nick Nurse. And I think that, if we're able to break this old school, you need like a champion and you need a couple people to back them up. If we're able to break that, then, it's sort of like what Steph did for, like, the long game, Nick might be doing for just conceptual basketball play right now. So I don't know, but either way, it's looking good, and I totally think we could go all the way. So, but either way, that is what I was talking about in terms of when are the boys back. And my answer is that I think that whatever happens when they do come back, don't trade anybody. I like this team. I fucking like this team. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how minutes are sort of doled out, because at the same time, as much as I say, oh yeah, shit, we need to hold on to all these assets, it would be a shame to have somebody like Boucher reduced to extremely limited minutes, because what's the point at that point? This guy needs to be able to play. And so, if it's benevolent to trade off a guy like that because he'll get more floor time, then yeah. I'm just being selfish because I'm falling in love with these guys. They're amazing. So the next big thing is the next 3 games are going to be a real doozy for the Raps. And I mean, coming off that win, I don't know. I think what's crazy about the Raptors is I feel like we play better against better teams. I mean, it's tough to really say. Like, the Knicks, though, they were up by like 9 or 10 for a little while there, and that was just bullshit, obviously. Like, I don't know what. I think the Raptors are almost always kind of shitty in the first quarter, and then they just kind of blow up eventually. They were rattled a lot more tonight, but that's also due to good defense. But with the Knicks, yeah, they had a weird time, and then they blew up. But I don't know. So we're starting with the Jazz. I think we can be confident about that win. The Heat, too, and the Rockets. Like, I don't know. It's tough to really, with a team like the Raptors and the way they play ball, like, I understand that if you look at the metrics and the statistics of all these teams, like, it seems like a grind, but I just feel like a lot of that just goes out the window with the Raptors. Like, the way they're able to adjust on the fly and just double up on guys and just play, like I said, different defensive strategies. Like, it's all game for game, and I think that honestly, like, a guy being sick might have more to do with the win or loss than whether it's fucking the Knicks or the Bucks. And yeah, sure, we lost to the Bucks, but I think my theory stands. In a lot of ways, these guys, like, if they're in the right headspace and they're feeling good, they're gonna win. They're gonna win. They just have this mentality and this insane sort of play style right now that lets them do shit like that. Albeit, I'm saying all this after a really boring ass night, so I apologize. I apologize for perhaps being not. I don't know. All I'm saying is I'm such a fan that even after such a boring performances tonight, I'm down with it. At the same time, it's like, I don't know what was going on with Jesus or whoever's in the sky, but the threes we were dropping tonight, it was just embarrassing. I think we might have actually dropped from being number one in the league in three-point percentage. But like it was honestly one of those games that I think gutted a lot of guys' stats. Siakam's stats probably went down a little bit. Our fucking free throw stats were absolutely atrocious, just garbage. You got to hand it to the Magic because, I mean, as much as you can say, we were pretty unlucky with our shot. They were holding their own defensively, not so much offensively, but they were holding their own defensively. At the same time, we were better defensively, and we needed to be better on, when we did have open looks, we needed to land those because it wouldn't have been such a tight and honestly boring game if we'd actually landed some of these fucking threes. It's insane how bad our threes were. I don't know if it's the new floors, that stupid orange Magic floor they had going on. It was so garbage. But there was something going on there that just really, it just didn't work. So yeah, that's the next three games. I'm predicting we're gonna sweep the whole damn thing because I just don't see anything that can really run up against this team in a way that might affect a more traditional NBA team. I mean, like I said, we're not the kind of group that's in the predicament where if we get caught up, if they read us and they figure out our strategy, then we're screwed. No, because we'll just adjust. We adjust all the time. We always adjust. That's what we do. And against like the Clippers and the Bucks, for instance, it made sense. Like, they're hard teams to beat. But even then, like, I feel like if we just had a bit more luck, if the smallest thing went our way, we would have won the damn thing. It wasn't any fundamental flaw in our ability to be winners, and that is coming from a team that has no superstar in the eyes of ESPN or whatever, which is obviously bullshit. Siakam should definitely be in the running for MVP, not after a game like tonight, but at some level he should be. So you know how it is. I think we're good to go. I mean, obviously I'll be back on the minute after those games end to bring you the recap and in my humble opinion about what happens then. Just going to be clear here too before I start wrapping up. I am more of a color commentator. I'm not really the biggest stats guy in the game, which is why once this starts picking up a bit more, I'm going to bring on every week a different, probably not always a different, but multiple analysts. Really bring in a group of guys and gals, people that know their way around some more of the box score sheets than I might myself. Like, obviously, I know fucking basketball, but I'm a bit more of a talker, than maybe a reader. So we're gonna really get really deep in this series, and I'm really looking forward to it. We'll also start having real play-by-play in the screen to my right. Right now, it's just sort of the DJ academic style GIFs, but in the future, we're gonna actually have replays from the actual game. Really keep it nice and hi-fi. Obviously, I'm just still trying to work out the technology. But hey, look at these graphics I put together. These are pretty good, hey. I really like the logo. I spent a lot of time on that, and I appreciate that you like it too. We don't really have a live chat set up right now, but we're going to start doing that for the next few games too. But just let me know. You can comment below what you think I could add, what I couldn't. The whole point of this really is to bridge that gap for people who are watching the game on your computer, who don't have access to Sportsnet analysts or whatever right afterwards. And just fun to keep talking. Once you get off the buzz of a good game, you wanna keep watching shit about the game, and I want to be here to just vibe with people and talk about it. So so I'm gonna be around doing that. It's been great doing the first episode of Raptors Rewind. Good finish. Again, pretty boring game in my opinion, but hey, we won. You can't complain. You really can't. I mean, god damn. The lowest first half of our entire season? Yeah, that's not great. I'm not going to lie. Not happy about that. But hey, we won. And you got to take the W. That's the number one thing, and I think that's what this team's going to be about all year, all the way to the playoffs. It might not always be pretty, but we always grind it out, and that's what the most important thing is. So, my name is Owen. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @themouthgod. I'll put this up later, next time on the screen right there. I also just released a single today. It's called Other Side. I'm a musician, too. So yeah, you can check that out. I'll post all that shit later. But anyway, I'll see you next game. And remember, every time, right after the game's over, probably around 5-10 minutes afterwards, to be honest, I'll be here and I will be talking to you on the Raptors Rewind. Thanks so much for watching. My name's Owen, and we'll see you next game.